Hello, good evening and happy Sunday. So, how are you all doing? Let me just get the cameras ready for you. I think we're kind of there. There we go. We're ready to go. So, several people have commented on their choice of colours, and I have got on the other screen, I have got my MacBook. So I have had some different people quoting me on which their favourite colours are. So if I just clear the deck underneath there, I could stick that in front of me. And then if there's any others come in, then I'll be able to read them. Okie doke. So, Sunday. Okay, we're nearly at the, it's not quite the end of the summer period yet, is it? We've got next weekend and the UK clocks all change. Hi Rhonda, lovely to see you. So, those of you who are on early, and obviously I've got some comments up here as well. Interesting one I hadn't thought of, but had thought of, if you know what I mean. Sounds funny. Hi, Carol. Just to talk about the colours choices, because we've got so many different colours that fit in with our autumn shades. But just looking through, I'm going to turn you down onto the desk first, and then we'll go through the colours. So we have a whole spectrum here of all the different colour leaves that you can get. Hi Maxine. So I've had people say mustard, oranges and yellows, which is kind of this end. We don't have more mustard anymore, but this is kind of like the dirty yellow, as I call it. So we've got that. We've got red, yellow and orange, which is kind of like this bit in here, those ones. And then we've got gold, brown and red. We don't have a gold ink pad, unfortunately, and we had, Helen said, burgundy, dark greens and mustard. Kind of like there's so many different spectrums across here. But I'm going to give you another chance on here just to pop some comments. I haven't got the ink pads out yet because to get all of them out, it was just silly crazy. So we're going to play it by ear here. I'm going to grab a few and then I'm going to come back and look at the screen. It's just a shame you guys can't shout it out while I'm away from the desk. But there's quite a lot of spectrum there. Hi Lynn, you've put yours in. But I'm going to go and grab which my kind of ones, go-to ones were. Okay, and if there's some more comments by the time I come back, then I will see, we'll have a discussion and see which colours are coming up most out of these. Okay, and I will be back just 2 secs, just getting those ink colours. So, you know we have crushed curry, that's one of them, pumpkin's one of them, and cherry, and it's the greens really, isn't it? The browns and the greens. So, over here, on the other side of the stairs, we'll grab some of my favourite greens. That one, and then you could have copper in there as well. There we go. So, who else has put any colours down? No more colours at the moment. Okie doke then. So we're going to go with Sandra's colours. Okay, some of the ones I've hinted on there, like I said, we've got 3 different sections across here. So my go-to greens are, I love my Mossy Meadow, so much so that my pack of Mossy Meadow has disappeared off the table and it's not in the shelf. So I don't quite know where I've put that one. But we've got Mossy Meadow. Now that is my green to go to because it's a muted green and it's quite a nice shade. And then on top of that, I would normally go for early espresso, but I think that's going to be really dark. So I want to try one of our new colours and go with copper clay. So that's that one and that's that one. We have to have a red. And again, the muted ones for me is the cherry. So they're the 3 colour main colours, but I've got cherry and pumpkin as my curry and pumpkin as my other go-tos. I like wild wheat, but I want a little bit of brightness in there as well. So we'll see what those 2 bring up. The rest of them, cherry was one of them. The rest of them will go on the floor for now, but we can love Mossy Meadow. Absolutely. Hi Angela. You love the autumn colours. I think this is the time for autumn, isn't it? I'm just going to bring this in a little bit. Whoops, Daisy. A little bit closer. Oh, not me. That one. Take that one off. Bring you in a bit closer to the screen. Look, you seem to be a million miles away. Look, let's get that in the middle of the table. Pumpkin, cherry and crushed. Pumpkin, cherry and crushed. I've got some of those on there already. Just got some of the greens to go with it. So let's go with that at the moment. So I'm going to have some of these. I'm just going to line up here. and match them up with the ink pad, because that will just help me off screen there. We've got reds, we have cherry, we have this one. I'm getting out my blending brushes to go with these, but there's one person who mentioned gold. So Lynn, there's some gold in here for you as well. That's a brownie one. It's an orangey brown, but that will be brown tonight. I don't have one brush per ink pad. I would love to, but it just isn't going to happen. There's too many colours for me to have them for all of them. So I need to add a few more in there. So this will be our yellows and the oranges kind of like together. So those ones are on that end. I don't know why I've opened this one. You want to go that end. So what we are going to be using today, we need to decide with those colours. I like to go for vanilla. I find that vanilla is just an autumnal colour. It's a warm colour. White is too stark for me, so I tend to go to the vanilla. So we might want to have a thick base. We'll keep that out for later, and we might want to have some of this as a layer to play with. Okay. I was toy. Is Shaz here yet? Her guest is wanting to come in. Let me just let the noisy little girl in, just a sec. She couldn't come while I was on my feet, could she? Come say hi. And I've got my warm slouchy slippers on. Oh look, I've got ink somewhere, look on my finger. Turn that one over. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to cut this to a card layer size. So this is half a sheet, so I'm going to just cut that into 10.5 for quarter sheet. Can you hear Smudge saying hello? Yes, I know. They know you're here. So I've got my colours ready. I've got a couple of pieces of card here. Put one to the side for now. And what we're going to play with tonight is the masks. Now, the decorative masks. These are the Abundance Beauty decorative masks. They are absolutely gorgeous. I love them. These are the ones I have shown you before. They have the 4 with the sunflowers on them. Just looking for the numbers. They're up here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are just etched in here. They're very, very faint. Okay. Now, if you have a little Dymo printer or something like that, you could actually go over those so you can actually see them. Okay. And then I'm going to show you what I've done with the other 3. So this is the houndstooth. Okay. I'll take those away. That's the houndstooth. That's a really nice one. I have labelled all of these ink, so the ink side up. This is the snowflakes. Okay, I've got a class coming up. I'm going to use these for retreat, and got some lovely ideas going with that. She's loud, isn't she? Linda says hi. So this is the one we're going to use tonight. Okay, it is all different leaves on here, and anything goes. There's some acorns, there's some oak leaves, there's all sorts of different leaves on here. Oh, bless you, Rhonda. Love you to bits. So you can see all of these I've put ink. There's a reason that I've put ink on there. These ones don't really need it because they have the numbers in the corner. But I have cut, if I just grab one, I have cut these as well, and I will be sticking these on the corners because I sometimes struggle with my eyes. I struggle to see the engraved piece in there, and I will just make sure that I'll put these on those corners. The reason I find it easier is because once you get started and you have things on your desk, like we all do, you could end up have ink on here. You turn it upside down, you pick it up, and you're running down like this, and you're putting all of this ink onto your card. So that's just my first tip for today, is to, just label them so that you keep the ink all on one side. They do wash off nicely, so it's not a big issue. I've got some Scotch tape here. I'm just going to secure this down. Because I've cut these into a quarter of a card size piece, it's going to give me a good overall coverage on here. Okay, just move that. We are overlapping that slightly because they've catered for the US size as well as the UK size. I want to keep the cardstock in place. Okay, I don't want it to shift about while I'm masking. So I don't want too much over the corner, just enough to hold it. We will be trimming the outside edges down. Now, I've only been back in my studio, 10 minutes? And I'm already glowing from the fire. So we've got the wood burner lit today and the open fire in the lounge because it's really cold here. So I know we're all scattered and we've got lots of visitors from different places. But yeah, the weather here today has been absolutely freezing outside. So we have such strange weather, don't we? So I'm going to ink some colours up. Now, this is my first one using the leaves. So I'm going to just pick and choose. I want to have a variegated all over. So I'm going to be doing splodges. And I'm going to try not to contaminate the colours as I go. So I'm starting with the lightest one, which in this case is going to be the yellow. So I'm just going to get some ink on here, and you know I take the excess off in this little box. It says wish list on there for people doing classes and things, but it's basically, that's my ink pad. It's not down here when I'm going to get my wrist on it and then go on my project. I just use that one box up there. So just do some random little pieces wherever you fancy. Because autumn is variegated, you will never get one leaf the same colour all the way through. So you're just going to use this all over. And we will colour it with other colours like shading through it. If you look out in nature, the graphic that I used on the programme I used for the intro had got lots of autumnal colours on there. It was a really good shot. Okay, so I'm just going to go in randomly, and it doesn't have to be the whole image, like I said. Okay, so that's the yellows. So I'm going to do this one up for now, and then go to the pumpkin. Just thinking if I've got another orangey one. I haven't, have I? No, I think I've got another green one. Nothing in there for oranges, so we will just use this one again. Or actually, I'm going to use this one because this is the oranges, and then I'll go to brown, and I'll show you a way that I do try and clean some of this excess ink off these. Okay, if you are using different colours, like this is going to do my oranges, so we'll just do a little bit of these coming through. We're not going to know what this looks like until we get to the very end. Okay, because it's going to be totally random. She really does want attention, doesn't she? Bless her. She must be loud because you guys hear her when she's out of the room. In fact, she's right beside me. Do you want to get your paws inky? That'd be a funny one, wouldn't it? Okay, so just randomly, wherever you fancy, and literally anywhere. We will change some of these colours. We'll go over the top. I'm going to use that for now. Got to have a give in and put the heating on. Absolutely. It's nice to have, because it's a big house, it's nice to have just the 2 rooms warm. So instead of having the central heating on, we can just tone that down, and we're only heating the rooms that we're in. The kitchen, you know, doesn't really matter so much. You know, if you're cooking, then you're going to have more heat in there. I wanted the acorns to try and be brown on this one. And if you remember when I did the sunflowers before, you need to go clockwise and anti-clockwise to get the brush, all these little fine bristles, into all of those little pieces. Okay, find the rest of the acorns because they kind of need to be more brown than green. Obviously they go through the green phase. There's another one in there. So Rhonda, and then who else has got the you'll watch on catch up rugby? I know. Oh, to see who we play. Yes, I watched the England match just now. Very close, wasn't it? Okay, doesn't matter if I get my label coloured. If it stains, it doesn't matter, really doesn't matter, because I can replace it and put another one on. But it's just so that you know that today I'm using that side. Another little one in there. It's just on those acorny bits. I think that's all of them. Yep, okay, so then we'll put that one away, and then we'll get the green. Okay. I'm interested to see what you guys have done with them. Those of you who've got the... I'm looking for my wet wipes. They're not in arm's reach, I don't think. No. Oh, there they are. So I've got some on the ink block here. On the ink pad, like I've got from one of the others. There you go. We'll try not to get it anywhere else that we don't want it. So this is Mossy Meadow, okay? So I'm tapping that. I go to a different bit of my map. Now when you rub these off on the side here, you haven't got to find a new clean piece every time, okay? If you're going yellows, then you go back on the yellows. If you're going greens, you go back on the greens. It's just to take some of that excess off. So now we want to make some of these leaves a bit more green. Okay, so anywhere that hasn't been done already, okay, we're going to get different strengths of colour. Okay, yeah, you've got to be careful with your fingers on here because it's getting mostly covered now. I will be putting my fingers onto the edges here. Okay, maybe just get a piece of kitchen roll. Just fold that in half and quarters and just keep that on the edge here, so when I'm holding the paper down I'm not actually doing too much. And so I'm not bothering about getting whole images coloured, so just partial pieces, a little bit down the corner there. Okay, and in here. The kitchen roll, if it takes any ink off, it will only be taking it off the mask, so it won't be taking it off the whole image because it's obviously raised. One of my acorns has gone green now, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be interesting to see how this comes out. I'm going to come over here now and go out in that corner. I'm going to want another piece. Oh, I've got some red as yet going to you. Okay, right, I think that's quite a nice mottled effect over that. Okay, yes, that's the way, Gillian. I've got a feeling they might, somebody said the other day they were out of stock. I am really hoping, I don't know any insider knowledge, but I really hope that they will make it over into the annual catalogue, because I think they are a set that's going to be very popular. And I think they'd be very silly if they don't hold them over. So fingers crossed, you heard it from me. I really would like these in the annual catalogue because they do all seasons. So whereas we have the Christmas catalogue comes out in for September, there's people who like to start Christmas earlier. Okay, so I think that we do have a few seasonal items, but I really think that this is going to be good all year round. So let's just do a little piece in the middle there, clockwise and anti-clockwise, so it gets in all those little grooves nicely. Okay, and you will be going over colours, so you will be changing those colours. Okay, a little bit on the maple leaf up here. Okay, just choose sections. There's a lot of green here. You can go on that side and this side. We're going over the top, but it won't matter. What do you want? She hasn't had her treats tonight, so she might be asking for some treats. But hey, just like a child, she's got to know she doesn't get something every time she squeals. And don't say cruel, mummy. Okay, can you see how this is building up? These masks are brilliant. In the UK, they are £10 for the whole set of 7. And I just think they are brilliant, really brilliant. Shh. Right, okay, so I'm now going to lift the corner on here. I've stuck this down, but I'm going to hold this up and just peel that back and see what I think. And look, and there we have. I'm thinking that they're going to be absolutely gorgeous. There's a little piece here I don't like because there was a line where the sellotape was. Okay, so I'm going to, I know we're trimming them, but I'm just going to go over that little bit again. Okay, might want another little bit of red. Because as we all know from our art lessons at school, colours do change. So, you know, you put 2 colours together and they make a different colour. So we know that's going to happen. And with the blending process, that's going to be the same. And there we go. I'm really pleased with that. Okay, I didn't quite get that line out because it was quite a harsh line. That has now full of ink. So I'm going to lay that on my kitchen roll. Okay, there. And then this is our piece of work for tonight. Okay, I really like that. I'm going to take it off the corners here. All right, I'll put that on the corner of the mat. And there is our piece all coloured. Can you see the variegated leaves on there? Okay. They are gorgeous, Linda. There's a couple of classes that I'm using them in. One is the retreat, but the other one is a non-Christmas class. And I'm really just absolutely loving these. They're really, really good. So love it. Okay, wow. Yeah, you're getting the variegation. It's not a case of doing one leaf, one colour. Autumn is not like that. If you go back to, you just look at nature, it is variegated. So you want those different hues, different colours, and just mix and match them all in. Okay, so that's that piece. I think I'm going to turn this over now because we've got ink all over here. So turn that over and try not to slide that out of your way. But that piece there is going to be the basis of what we do with our card. So then we come back to the colour cards that we've actually used in here. If I take one of each. Take one of each sheet out and then it'll be easier to see on that one. And that one, oops, and a little piece that went flying. Copper clay is one of the new ones, as I said, new colour. And then my mossy meadow, I've put somewhere safe because I've been playing with the Christmas ones. Okay, so I'll just take one sheet out of a new packet. Come and see the daylight. There we go. So if you put that with those colours, you can see how they kind of pick up. Okay, so it does come through to all of those. Whichever combination you use, it will come through because there's all of those in there. And I do like it with the cream. If I just take a piece of white here, sort of like the base, take the cream, these are the thick ones. That's the thick one. It's the thick. So if you see these colours with the cream, the light's a little bit bright, so you might not really see the difference here. But if you've got white behind here on the backing, on the grid paper, okay, so if you see this with the white there or the white here, that is quite stark, I feel. But when you put the cream to it, it's just muted. This is how I decide which colours I like. These are warm colours, and so this is warm as well. Use copper clay. Wild wheat was on my card colours that I got out, Maxine. Yeah, I like it, but I wanted to just bring a little bit of brightness to it, so I went with the others. But this is why we've got these colours here. And now the decision is, which colour do I have as a base and which colours do I have as a layer? Which colours are prominent? The green is quite prominent, but I kind of like, I want to use something new. So I do like this as a new colour, but it needs something with it. So I am thinking whether I did something like this. Different combinations. You know how I build my cards up. I have them like so. Or I look at that as a layer and think, is that nice? Is that what I like? Or do I put it the other way and put a little bit of the brown copper clay in there? Okay, like so. So you've got a different look by putting the predominant one at the back. You're not good with blending. You will be. It's practice. Hi, Shaz. You're a little bit late. Smudge has been crying out for you and she's given up and gone out of the room now. So, so there's those. But then if you want a bit of brightness in there and you want to bring one of the lighter ones in, you know, you've got some oranges in there. You've got some yellows in there. I kind of quite like this one, but it's then going a bit wishy-washy. So it might be that one onto that one. I can hear Daddy now. David out there. See, that makes a nice combination, but you can't really see the yellow so much in there. So I think I'm going to discard yellow. Okay, and we could come back to another bright colour. We can see the orange. Okay, and we've got that with the copper. That's a nice combination. Or we can do the pumpkin to the red. We've got enough green in there, I think, so we don't need green on here as well. So I think that's looking quite nice. Either way of colours is great. I don't want to make it look Christmassy, so I think I might even go this way round. I think the orange is the pumpkin is going to make that look more autumnal than the red. I don't want to go to Christmas colours, so I'm going to use this as my base card. Trimmer I have buried. Okay, so we're going to score this once at 10.5 down the middle, and then we're going to cut it this way. So we make 2 cards at once. Saves you cutting and scoring 2. So I'll put 1 in the back of the packet, want to pack up, and then we're going to have a matte layer here. So the matte layer, I would come down 0.5 centimetre, but I'm going to come down 1 centimetre today. So I'm going to come down to 9.5. Okay, and I'm going to make this, instead of 14.8, I'm going to make it 13.8. Just want to see a little bit more of that bright orange. So that just gives me a wider border than normal. Okay, but you can play with this, you really can. The other thing is, another thought process I had was to go halfway. If I was to cut this in half and had that as a panel on the card, that would change the whole dynamics again, because we could have it like so. I am kind of tempted to do that. What shall we say? Shall we do that? Half it or not half it? I also have the note cards here, vanilla note cards. So if we fancy doing a note card, I've got that size, and we could put the card on there and have that in the middle with this as a bottom. So you could have a smaller piece, cut it down like so as matte layers, make the card, the note card, the vanilla note card would be covered, or even just a tiny border, a really tiny border, and make that into there. Do it, go do it. Okay then. The audience has spoken. So this was cut at 14.8, I believe, quarter of a sheet. Well, it's 14.5. So I'll do 7.25. So I'm going to do 7.25 there. Okay, and then this was the 10.5 tall. Okay, we'll see once we get it done. So I'm going to take another piece of orange, of pumpkin. Take a scrap here. Oh, that piece will do. Got a part sheet there somewhere. There's one there. Oh, okay. What's this one? There we go. I've got so much card out now. So I'm going to have this one at the. I know that this is 5 by 3.5 inches. So I'm going to come down a little bit. So I'm going to make this 4 and 7/8. So I'm taking 1/8 of an inch off. So it's going to be 3.5. So I'm going to come down to 3 and whatever that 1/8 of an inch is off that. So that should fit on there nicely. So we've got that little bit of a border. Okay, like so. I'm just going to match these up perfectly. I did it by hand. I kind of think I want that to be squared off. Bone folder. It's not quite lined up, so the edges don't go. So if you are slightly off, you can just tweak it. If you see these aren't overlapping, get the corners really lined up well together, and then just force that crease really where you want it, and you'll be fine. So that one's going to go on here, okay, like so. Just a tiny little border around the edges, like so. Then we're going to have a 1/2 panel of this, okay, and then we can trim that down a little bit more and have a red layer, so a cherry layer. So I'm going to square this one up. I think it's in proportion. I look at the size of the border around each side. So we could do with just bringing that down slightly. So back to baby. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit off the top and bottom, because there is a little bit of a white space there. Top and bottom, like so. Still working around that one. Can bring the size down a little bit more. So that's down to 7. Okay, so we're going to go 7 by 10. 7 by 10 is my piece, so we want to bring the cherry just that little bit more. 7. It's not 10 this way, is it? No. So we go 10. Yeah, I'm going to do just over the 10. So I'm going to go 3 millimeters more, and that was 7 this way, so 7. Okay, sweep all of those little pieces out of the way and see if we've got a fairly good matte layer. There we go. So we've got a small one around the back and we've got another small one there. Okay. Now, there was one more thing I was going to do on this before I stick the layers together. Do you agree that that's quite nice looking now? It's good getting there, isn't it? Half it. Yes, we did. So yeah, that's looking good. But what I want to just do is to go to another set I've got here. I've got 3 sets. I don't know what sentiment to put on there, so I'm just getting those. But I wanted a bit of dottage. Now, I'm just going to check this. Is Lynn on? I don't know if Lynn's with us online. If not, she will... Yeah, the heat gun is working. Just knocking my blocks over, but it's working. Okay, so I'm going to quickly bring out my embossing box, okay? It's got heat and stick on the top there because that's one of my layers. Have you ever heard such a noisy cat? She really is. So I'm looking for the dottage. We call it dottage. I had my friend over in Wales, Ruth, she was the first person that I heard talk about dottage. Okay, dottage is where we love to have just little spots on things. Okay, so dottage is the tiny little dots. Okay, so what I wanted to do with this now, I'm going to use gold, okay, and I'm going to use the gold in here. Don't say I need my glasses on to see where gold is. No, that's gold. I say we've got gold. We've got, I won't worry about this because all we're going to do is put speckles on it. This is the dust buddy. We normally wipe over the surface. We're not going to worry about that. And I need my mask back, my inky mask, without getting my fingers too dirty. So I want to just find a place where this matches up. Okay, that's going to be easier said than done now, isn't it? A big maple leaf is down the bottom here. So let's see if that's going to do it. Yes, there we go. I think we're just about there. So all I'm trying to do now is to replace that mask. I'm just going to pop that there and just tape it down there for now. I'm going to grab my Versamark ink. Okay. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but it's just something I wanted to try. So I've got the little dottage. Okay, a Versamark pad, and I'm going to stamp through some of these. Oh, I will use this. I'm going to lift this up a sec. I'm just going to wipe this over and then I'll explain why. If this ink on here is not thoroughly dry, okay, this will make sure that there's nothing else, loose particles of moisture in there. Okay, so we do need that. And then we'll take this down again. Then that way the embossing powder now will only stick to where I've actually put the Versamark ink. So we've got some leaves there. I'm just going to start at the top and I'm just going to dab in on some of them randomly. Okay, I don't know what's going to turn out, but it should end up with some little gold speckles on our leaves. Okay, just randomly. Okay, anywhere that I've not been. If you look to the side, you'll never see it on the screen, but if you look to the side, you can actually see where the moisture is. You can see little dots. Okay, I don't think there's many on that one. So there is my inking done. And that's just dottage from any stamp that's got dots on it. Replace that onto my kitchen roll at the back there. Okay, place this on here. And then I will place the gold embossing powder on it. So this is for Lynn. If Lynn's not, I don't know if she's on here, but if she watches on replay, she mentioned about the gold. And we haven't got a gold ink pad. However, we do have gold embossing powder. And that was a way I could bring the dottage in. Just holding that gently. Tap it all off on the back. And can you see, it looks like it's got measles. There are some speckles in there. You could probably just do it over the whole surface. But I was trying to keep it onto the leaves. Okay, so that goes back in my box. Lid on the powder. Okay, I'm going to pick this up with my tweezers. Okay, and just heat this up gently. There's nothing else in the way, so I just wanted a little bit of gold tinge on here. I think as you've heard me say before, we don't waft the gun. literally just holding it in one place until it turns golden. And then as it heats, we move along. Some in the corner there, a little bit there, and there we go. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like on the actual things. I don't know if you can see. Can you pick up the gold on the screen? Yeah, Lynn, you are on there. Well done. But that was just to bring a bit of gold in. Okay, we have got the white spaces, but I quite like that. It's just that different tinge to it. Okay, so I'm going to put that out of the way now and switch my power bank off. As Lynn's on here, I'm going to show you my power bank. If any of you crafters on here are, I'm going to unplug that one. Just pull that through. If you are in need on your craft desk of a tool, this is absolutely brilliant. Lynn recommended this to me. It's got the on and off plug here, so you can switch it on, it goes blue and off again. So I don't need to worry about the socket on the wall. It's got 3 USBs and it's got 4 ways of plugs. So like for classes, it's going to be great because I can come up between the tables and 4 machines can actually go in on here. But I've just got it off Amazon and it's absolutely brilliant. It's a really quite a high powered one, but that's my godsend. So I don't have leads running off the table the other side of the room, so it's good. So I'm going to just glue these 2 layers together, 2 sets of 2. Just pull that through there and dot in the middle. Okay, and pop that on there. Tiggs is starting now, I can hear him. I'm not gutting this today, but if you wanted to on here, another technique, you've got 2 different ways you can do this. With that dottage, if you wanted to put a little bit of detail in the background, okay, you could actually stamp this just in the background and you will get what we call tone on tone. It kind of gives, in this corner here, it gives a bit of a watermark. So there's a little bit of detail there. But if I now turn over and do it in the same colour as the card and do pumpkin pie, you'll have same on same. Instead of a watermark effect, you'll actually have same tone. So I'm just going to stamp that in the corner of this one. Look, there we go. That's fine. So then we can have this one and just randomly put some little bits around the side. I've got a bigger block than I need, so just be careful when you do that because you do rock the block. It's easily done. Okay, just bring that around the edges. Are you back again, Mrs.? If you could see the state of my table at the moment, I've had lots of retired product out and it's covering the table. And I've got piles of different photographed ones ready to put online. Yeah, all in different categories. Tiggs is in here as well. So literally just a few around the edges there. Okay. Let's snap that shut. So that is the same ink. So pumpkin ink on pumpkin card. And over here, for a more subtle effect, you can just see I did 3 in the corner here. So these 3 here are with Versamark. So it gives you the detail, but much, much finer. Okay, so that's another tip. So there's so many possibilities. Okay, tiny little dot in the middle. It's going to go on my note card. So my 1/4 panel is actually going to make me 2 cards. Okay, so now this one we need a greeting. We can't not have a greeting. So I've got some, I can't use sending because it's too big, but some of the other phrases are quite nice. A card to say hello is just a nice little greeting. But I think if there's no element on here, there might be something on here that might be nice. There's no autumny looking ones. You like that? The adapter is awesome. It absolutely is, Joy. Just look it up. If anybody wants the link, ask me and I'll send you the link over. I'm going to go with, I want a bigger one. I need a decent size one. I'm going to have to go back to thank you again. It's one I use quite a bit, but it's always a good one to have on standby. It's a shame they don't have something in this set like a hello. or just, no, they've got just for you, it's a bit small. So hello, I'll take a piece of my scraps somewhere from my vanilla. Get some bits in there. And I'm going to stamp this in cherry, okay? I like a darker colour for the sentiment, and the darker colour would just make that pop a little bit more. Okay, there's one, and while I'm here, I'm going to do one for the other card. Okay, I'll cut that in half, pop that one for when I make up the other half, and I'll keep this one out. I didn't bring over my little machine today, so I'm just for speed, I'm just going to fussy cut that one. Pop my glasses on. I've got some twine to wrap around here before I add the dimensionals on the back here. Dimensionals, there we go. So Stampin' dimensionals, got the big ones there. There we go. I feel like I've got so many things out today. So much on my desk. So I take off the excess. When I fussy cut, I just take off the excess to start with. I like this set because if you're not a fussy cutter like me, you can use the dies. Okay, but for quickness, I haven't got my machine out. Okay, just cut around that, leaving a little border. As always, I'm using this hand here on the left to do the work and swivel the card as I need it. Try to keep the lines all curved rather than angular. You don't kind of need, you know, sharp lines. It's a soft flowing font, and it's just going to come around there nicely. Corner that off, bring it in and up to the big one, in and out of this. Okay, the top's fairly straight across there. Okay, so keep that in line. Round the corner at the top, and it's nearly as good as the die, isn't it? But I do like my fussy cutting. Okay, so I hope you can all see this. Okay, and come around that last little corner, soften that edge. There we go. So there's my sentiment. So that's going to go on foam pads as well. So here we go, and we're nearly there, look. In fact, I'll put one big one and one little one on there. Dimensionals are gone. I'll take a little snip off the edge. One of these little triangular ones will do. Put that in, there we go. So we've got those two with the backs off ready. There with my little rubbish bits. Then this is going to have the pads on the back, and then I'm going to run some thread around it. I'm going to use the Naturals twine because it's autumn. I think it has to be the autumnal shades, textures. So I have the last one up here, and I'll use I've got the Naturals twine, but I also have the Essentials twine pack. So it could be, we could use one of those, and that's a bit more brown. So that might work, I think. The other is the Essentials twines as well. That would be a nice one to use. Okay, so we're happy with all of that. There's not really a better way up, that way or that way. So I think I'll leave the darker colours at the top. I like to keep a tail on the front, wherever I'm going to tie a bow, and I'm going to wrap it round twice. So I'll hold this long enough to tie, wrap it round once and once again, and then I will cut a piece off here. Okay, and that will go there. Put that one away in a minute. So I'm going to tie a little knot on here. So I do go right over left and left over right, as I was taught to tie my shoelaces. Right over left and left over right. Then I'll tighten them up. Okay. If you tie with twine like this, ribbon's not so forgiving, but if you tie it tight as a knot, so I've pulled that one tight, put my finger on it, pull this one tight on top of it, and it just won't move. So you can then tie it at your leisure. Okay, you could even take these off now and attach it to the card. I build upwards. You'll always see me building upwards. Very rarely I do anything else. But if I now place this where I want it, got the opening going that way. I place this in the centre. Oops. It's in the center there. Okay, I've then got a bigger piece and more weight to it, and it's easier to tie the bow. If you try and tie the bow on a small piece of card where it is just keeps moving with you, you've got more weight here. And there we go. You can tie those off, pull those little ones to loops, and get it to the size you'd like. You can trim those as you wish. Then pop our sentiment on here. I don't really want to cover the ribbon. It has twisted a couple of times, which is what I was trying to do. So I don't want to hide that. We could even just put a thank you in the middle there, look. There we go. And how do we think that is? I'll just take that edge off. Okay, and oh, I was nearly off the table. You adore those colours. So I'll bring the colours back for you in a sec so you can know which ones I used. Anything goes. Nature is not perfect. This set is on my wish list. You like the dies to go with it. The dies, there aren't dies to go with this, Linda. There is another set that is the autumn leaves. I couldn't get everything. I loved it, but I couldn't get everything. And as the season goes on, it's more likely that if it retires, I don't want to be stuck with it. So I won't buy that now, but I love this. This is just the pack of masks that I showed you at the beginning, and nothing else. It's just cardstock. Okay. So it is a really good way of using those dies, the masks, sorry. They are really gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to just bring the colours back on for you. So I'll leave the thingies off. So have those on the top row and these on the bottom row. So they were the ones that I used today. Okay, and then that's the card. Okay, leave that there so you can see them all together. If you want to take a screenshot, then that'll remind you of those. That makes sense? Bring it up a little bit so it shows on a screenshot. There we go. And the background's quite clean and tidy as well. If I move my overhead camera, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that, can I? I'll move you. Yeah. Okay, you're seeing me in the corner, aren't you? Let me take me off and do it that way. Okay, so you can see it. I'll straighten it up for you again. There you go. I was trying to get rid of this shadow for you. Okay, you kind of can see that now, can't you? Like the mask, I love the colours. Yeah, the mask is going to be really popular. I'm waiting for them to come in stock, and then I will put some more through because I've got people that want them. Now, I was just going to show you one of these tips on here because I was oranges and I went to browns, okay, on this one. If you want to use a wet, these three are dry, but if you use a wet chamois, I have washed them before I came on air, and use it on here, it will take off that top layer of colour. So when I've used a different colour, it will take that off there, okay? It will take it down to the bare bones. I don't tend to clean them in between. If you want to, you can. You can rinse them under the tap. This is with the darker shades in here, you can see. So if I turn that over, find another clean spot, and just take it off in the heel of that to get some of that out. You will find some of the colours do come out. They will shift. You're taking it off the surface area, okay? But it's a good way to clean them in between, okay, if you wanted to change colours slightly. Okay, I will let that dry now, and I'd use oranges with that as well again. Okay, so that was my other tip tonight. Okay, so hopefully you've had a good evening, you've enjoyed that presentation. Let me just bring you back to me. There we go. Just remind you, the UK people, if you haven't heard about the offer the Stampin' Up's doing at the moment, you've got the starter kit. Now, by far, the cheapest option is for you to do the cheaper one to pay. So if you have £130 of products you choose for £99 normally, because it's the 35th anniversary, you get 35% off of that price, so it brings it down to £64.35 for £130 worth of product. Okay, if you want to join my team and take advantage of that offer. The other offer is to have £130 increased by 35%. That goes up to £175 for £99. So they're really good offers. Plus, both of those offers, you can attend an online convention as well in November. Okay, and I'll be having a team here, so anybody who wants to come here is quite welcome. Okay, so that's just some offers coming up that are really good value for money. So if you wanted to take up the offer and join my team, then just get in touch with me and I will sort you out. Okay, so that's all the news from this week. Don't forget to look at the online exclusives and the clearance rack for any additions that are on there that you might want before they go. Okay, take care, stay safe, and I will see you again